When Chicanos do something similar, like the same thing, it's like all of a sudden it's ghetto.
What is up, everyone, and welcome to episode 24. I am your host, Alanized, and this is Noche de Pendejadas. Para todas las pendejas allá en casita que se están preguntando qué chingados es esto, escuchen. Noche de Pendejadas is a weekly episodic show where I go ahead and bring your favorite influencers to chismear, have some cocktails, and see what the fuck they've been up to. So si tú quieres ver a tu influencer favorito, hazme un gran favor and drop their usernames down below. La semana pasada les trajimos a la invitada especial Bella, y esta semana les traemos una invitada igual de chingona. Please help me welcome my guest tonight, recording artist Roxxx. Hello. I feel like, you know, this has been in the works for such a long time. Y hasta que se nos hizo, you guys. I remember we had spoken about it one time when we were on live.
Yeah, on TikTok.
On TikTok live. And I hit you up. Did I hit you up? Yes, right? But then I left you kind of on red. No, not even on red. I just didn't open it because I got fucking busy, you guys. And then the other day I was like, oh my, I literally was watching your story and I was like, oh my God, I literally forgot to fucking reply the last time we had like scheduled something. So el otro día no estaba haciendo nada, you know, like those days where you're just in bed, just kind of like figuring out your fucking life.
Yeah.
And then I was like, I'm gonna do it now porque si no va a venir la pinche semana and I'm gonna fucking forget again. So thank you so much for being here with us today.
Yeah, of course.
You guys drove a long way today.
Yeah, it was like 3-ish hours. It was funny too because it's like literally from like one day to the next, like, oh, tomorrow, okay, cool.
I was literally telling her, I was like, are you down? And she's like, yeah, just let me know when. And I was like, do you want to do tomorrow? No, first it was Tuesday.
Yeah, Tuesday.
Because I was like, okay, maybe I'll do like for next week. But then I was like, wait, I can't. Tuesday, I was like, what about tomorrow? We made it work, you guys. So aquí la tenemos. Para todos ustedes allá en casita que no conocen a Roxxx, I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to her para que ella les diga un poquito más de quién es y qué hace.
What's up, everybody? My name is Roxxx. I am an upcoming artist. I'm a singer. I'm 19 years old. I am from a very, very, very small city. It's not on the map yet. It's called El Centro, California. That's pretty much it.
I've been knowing you for a long time now. I want to say over a year already, because for those of you guys that have been following me and writing with me for such a long time, I was actually hosting your album release party last February. We're a whole year later, you guys, and I'm like, me la voy a traer porque yo sé que Roxxx, you guys, es otra persona diferente a lo que eras en ese entonces. How do you feel that you've grown as an artist throughout this whole year and a half?
It's actually crazy because I've learned so much about the industry, and just being there, it's like it's nothing like what you imagine that it is. I don't know, it's crazy because like I still feel like a normal person too, like because my hometown is real small, so like when I go places like to the mall or like to go get groceries real quick, whatever, people always recognize me and I'm like, what the heck? And they think I'm like so famous, whatever, and it's just like I still feel so normal. I'm just doing what I love.
Ya que la conocieron un poquito más, you guys, we're gonna go straight into the chisme porque yo sé que ustedes vinieron a conocerla and to get all the chisme of Roxxx. So with that being said, you guys, we're gonna go ahead and head over to chisme and cocktails. Como pueden ver, and just like Roxxx said, you're 19, so obviamente legally she can't drink, and I don't even think you drink, right?
No, I don't.
So we're gonna go ahead and cheers to some water, and she's just gonna pretend she's getting fucked up with water para poder sacarle el chisme, amigas. So pa arriba, pa abajo, pa el centro y pa dentro. Before we get started with the real questions, I want to know a little bit more about Roxxx, because I feel like muchos de ustedes que la conocen know more Roxxx the artist and not really Roxxx the person. Quiero saber cómo fue tu juventud. I want to know how your childhood was, and at what point in your childhood did you decide you wanted to be a singer?
When I was little, I actually sucked at singing. But one time my dad was watching some boxing fights and there was like a girl singing the national anthem and I thought she sounded so cool, so I was like, I could do that. And so I started to learn the national anthem just because I heard that, and I would practice it over and over and over and over again, and until I had the confidence to show my mom, and I was like, Mom, does this sound good? And she lied to me and told me yes. And she said yes. So ever since that day, I kept singing. That was when I was like 7 years old. And so I just kept singing ever since then. And I got really into music. My dad bought me an iPod and it had like Adele, Eminem, and whatever. And I would sit there and write the lyrics because we didn't have a computer. And so I would just like write down what I would hear and I would practice the songs over and over and over and over and over again. And I just really got into music and I just loved it. And I never thought being a singer was realistic. One, because it sounds really dumb. When I was little, I didn't know that Mexicans could be singers.
No, for real though, because I feel like especially living in the States,
that. Like I didn't know that. I thought it was just like no offense, like I thought it was just white people that could make music. So I was like, I didn't know. And so that's why I just never thought it was realistic, because I was thinking like Britney Spears, Hannah Montana type stuff. I was like, my life is not going to be like that. And so I got older, whatever. And then when I was like 14, 15, that's around the time that my favorite artist passed away. It's not funny, but I just can't stop laughing. His name is XXXTentacion. I have like 4 tattoos for him. And when he passed away, it really inspired me and it brought out a whole other side of me that I didn't even know existed. And that's when I really started to take music seriously, and I started writing, and all I would do is write, because I thought it was unfair that he was taken away from people and that they wouldn't get to have him on this earth anymore, and they wouldn't get to enjoy his art anymore. So I thought I want to continue his legacy by doing something similar and having a similar influence. And so I started to get heavily into music. That's all I would do. You ask my parents, my whole high school was about music. And then when I was like around 16, 17, that's when I got real serious, because that's when you have to start thinking about college and blah, blah, blah. And I told my parents, I always said I never want to go to college. Like, I don't want to. And everyone in my family thought I was crazy, but my parents, they like always believed in me. I remember I would get small shows, like there'd be like 20 people there. And I say most of those people were my family members, and the tickets to get in were like $1. And so it was really cool, you know, like that little experience that I have in those memories with my family. So that's when I realized I wanted to be serious with it. And so I just kept writing from there. And then when I graduated high school, that was actually during COVID, so I didn't have a graduation or nothing. And I kind of loved it, because that means I was trapped at home, which means all I did was music. And so I started working on an EP. I was also going to college at the time, but it was like online, and I didn't want to go, but like my parents were like, you have to do something else. So I was doing online courses. Then one day, randomly, like I was for a week straight, I had got back into MC Magic's music out of nowhere. Like literally just out of nowhere. And so for a week straight, I was like bumping him, and I kept talking about him. I was like, Mom and Dad, like one day I want to collab with him. It's kind of random. I wasn't like super into that music, but I still did like it. So then I told my dad out of nowhere, I was like, Dad, I want to write a Spanish song. And so he helped me, because I don't speak Spanish. I'm not fluent in it. I understand very little. But he thought I was crazy for wanting to write a Spanish song, because like that doesn't really make sense. And so we wrote my song. It's called Mi Amor. It's my first Spanish song. And I learned it well enough to have it memorized. And then literally a few days later, I had gone live with MC Magic, because he was going live with fans. And I was like, what the heck? Because he chose me. I didn't think he was going to pick me. And he picked me because of my username. My username is antisocial extrovert. And I remember my parents used to think like, why'd you change it? Like, they were like, that's a weird username. And I was like, I just like it because of a Kendrick Lamar song. And so I had it like that for years. And Magic's like, that's what caught my attention, was your username. And so that's why he chose me. And so I sang to him on live. And then
the rest is history.
It took off from there. And so I don't know. So a part of me kind of feels like it was luck, but then a part of me also feels like that was my destiny. Like that was like I was meant to be an artist, and I don't think anything else, you know?
Have you been working too much where you feel like you haven't been taking enough time for yourself? Because me too. But today's sponsor, BetterHelp, is here to help. BetterHelp is a customized online therapy that offers video, phone, and even live chat sessions with your therapist. You don't even have to see anyone on camera if you don't feel comfortable doing so. It's much more affordable than in-person therapy, and you can get matched with the perfect therapist in under 48 hours. Sometimes we forget about our mental and physical health while working, and it's time for a change. I've had multiple burnouts during my career, and trust me, it's not it. Burnout symptoms can include lack of motivation, irritability, fatigue, and more. I recommend BetterHelp because it's never too late to take care of your mental health. Remember, you should always be your own priority. Our listeners get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/noche. That's betterhelp.com/noche. Thank you so much to today's sponsor for sponsoring today's video. and let's get back into the interview. I have a lot of questions porque nos dio tanta información. I have like 2-3 questions that just peeked out of there. I want to go a little bit back. You know, I've seen so many videos of you as a child, you know, performing in talent shows, doing stuff. How was that inner child of you? Like now that you look back, you're like, damn, like I really was manifesting this from the beginning. Because as someone like myself, I used to be an honor choir. Like, yes, I was doing that as a kid for fun, but never in my wildest dreams was like, I want to be a singer. Like, pa esto me voy a dedicar. What was it like as a child? Were you already thinking like, I'm gonna do this for a living, or was it just like for fun at the time?
When I was a kid, it was definitely for fun because I always wanted to be a teacher. Like that was like my dream job, to be a teacher. Like I would force all my cousins to do like this fake homework that I would make on the computer and print it out. I would make them have grades and all this stuff. So I was like kind of like a dictator when I was a kid, you know? And like I'm still like that too. Like, you know, like I like to be in control of everything. And so like I had that in my mind. Like I was like, I'm gonna be a teacher. Like my whole life I wanted to be a teacher. The music was kind of like, I loved it, and it was like kind of a hobby as a child, you know? And I used to want to have a YouTube channel and all that when I was little, but I never actually did it. And I just really started taking everything seriously when I was like 14, 15.
Now let's forward to that, you know, live with MC Magic. Okay. You know, she went live with MC Magic, yes. And, you know, later on you ended up signing a whole ass, you know, record deal with Nasty Boy Record. How was that for you? How did, you know, did that catch you off guard? Because you went from singing a live song to, you know, recording an actual song with him to then later, you know, signing with him. What was the process behind the scenes to all that?
Yeah, it was like a shock to me because like, especially as a fan, like imagine, like that's crazy. And so I was shocked, most definitely. But Magic told me like from the first day that he met me, he was like Jay, you're a star. Like that's it. And I was like, really? Like, real? And so he definitely opened up a lot of doors for me, and he taught me so much like about the industry and just like, you know, how to be basically like my own boss and just how to do everything. And he opened up doors like, you know, like to the more Spanish genres, and I got to explore a different side of my artistry that I didn't even know existed. But it was really cool, and it was very unexpected because it was originally, we were only supposed to record one song, Mi Amor, and it turned into a full album. And now we're like best friends. So it's really crazy. And he feels more like family now too. I don't know, like it is crazy like how it just went from that. Like I was just fangirling for him like 1 week, and then the next week it's like I literally got to meet him in real life. The music industry is real shady, you know, people are super shady and whatnot. So when Magic told me like, okay, let me get in contact with your parents, like let's set up a time and place to meet. Me and my dad thought that he was like not ever gonna show up. We thought he wasn't gonna follow through with what he was saying because a lot of people are like that. He literally like within a few days was like already like planning the trip, and he went out there and we recorded literally in my living room. Like it was so surprising like how fast and how consistent he was, you know.
MC Magic has actually been a guest. I think he was a guest on our second season of Noche de Pendejadas. Him being such an established artist, him being in the industry for so long, he saw you and he's like, you know what, I see talent, I see a star. Obviously he told you that, and he was like, I'm gonna, you know, dedicarme to build you as the star that you are. Early last year, you know, you released your album Princessa, and I feel like if you guys haven't heard the album Princessa, go check it out. But I feel like this album is definitely super different than any album, you know, I've ever listened to. I feel like a lot of the time artists tend to stick to one genre, tend to stick to, you know, si voy a sacar corridos, van a ser todos corridos. Si van a sacar trap, va a ser todo trap. But your album has a mixture of cumbia, has a mixture of everything. What was the reason you decided to go that route?
It's because, okay, to be honest, I grew up listening to everything. Like there's no limit to what I listen to, you know. Like I said, literally in the car right now, me and my dad, we can go from listening to Eminem to Nirvana to SPM to just like random stuff. And so I grew up listening to music like that. It was never just like we only like one thing. So I felt myself like as an artist, to put myself in a box is like the least artist thing that I could ever do, because art is everything and art is everywhere. So it's like you can't put yourself in a box, you can't label yourself as anything. And not only that, but my favorite artist, X, he was super into doing different genres, you know. He even did Spanish, he did every genre that he could possibly do before he passed away. And so I wanted to, you know, that inspired me to do something similar, because I was like, I don't have to do just one thing, I could do everything. So when we were recording our album, I would tell Magic like, oh, I like this song, I want to make a song like this, or I like this song, I want to make a song like this. So everything that I like, I just put it into that album. and it just came to be that.
As an upcoming artist, you know, I feel like that can be something super, super risky to do, because I feel like, especially when you're trying to get your name out there, your first album, like we're not even talking about like your fifth, sixth album, it's your first album. I feel like it could be super risky because, you know, a lot of the time, like you can confuse an audience, like, oh shit, que canta, canta cumbia, canta, you know, Chicano rap, or que canta. Was that ever a concern to you and your team? Like, fuck, look, we might be risking it, but we can also, you know, take the risk, and, you know, a lot of great stuff can happen to it. Was there ever that like convo?
Not really, like in my mind, because I was like, if anything, it's better to show them that you could do everything, because then you can connect with so much more people like that than just be like, no, I only mess with these types of people. Yeah. Because like, and then only those types of people are gonna like you. I think that, like I said, art is like, people who truly appreciate art, they're gonna appreciate art, and people who are closed-minded are just closed-minded. And that's why I wanted to just do everything from the jump, so that way I didn't get put into a box so early on in my career. Because if I were to do something like, for example, like purely Chicano music, right, and I'll have a whole album full of music only like that, then I would get put in this box that if I were to ever try pop, or if I were to ever try punk music, or if I were to try rap, whatever I want to try or to do, people would automatically put me in a box already, because that's their first perception of me from whatever it is that I have out. So if I kind of just throw everything at them all at once, and it's like, this is what I'm capable of doing. You want me to do a cumbia, I could do a cumbia. You want me to do mariachi, I could do mariachi. You want me to do a corrido, I could do a corrido. You want me to do pop, I could do pop. You know, like I can do literally anything and everything, because I'm like a musical chameleon. Like there's nothing that could stop me from doing any like style or genre, like, you know. It
really does show in your music that you genuinely like put so much into your album, your music y todo, because si ustedes escuchan an album, you guys, it literally takes you on a fucking roller coaster. Like one time you're like over here crying, then you feel in love, then you're over here trying to get hyped up, and it's such an amazing album, and I'm so happy and so proud that I was able to be a part of the release. You know, back in February, you guys, I genuinely feel like the person that's sitting right here in my chair is so different from the person that like was releasing that album. What do you feel has made you get so much confidence? What has made you, you know, create this new persona that like is here with us today?
To be honest, I wouldn't say created a new persona. I would feel like this is always who I've been, but I've always been so scared. And it's kind of like, I always like to use the term rip the band-aid off, like just rip off the band-aid, like who cares? Because when one of my songs on the album is called I Belong to You, that I wrote that song for my tata, because he passed away on the 4th of July in 2020, and ever since that happened, I literally felt a shift in like my life. Like nothing feels the same as it did before. And whenever something tragic like that happens, like I feel like you're reborn, and I feel like I was reborn into like, life is so short and literally nothing matters. Like I don't care what anyone thinks. It's just that simple. It's like, just don't care, because like I said, it's like it's too short to care. And not only that, but when you go your whole life trying to be what other people want you to be, or pretending to be something you're not, you are gonna forever live in the handcuffs mentally of other people, and you're not setting yourself free doing exactly what you want. I actually have a tattoo on my arm too. It says, "What is real will prosper," and that was one of X's quotes, because I truly believe that. I think that anyone who ever became anything great in life was because they're real. And you have these people like, yeah, they blow up, they're famous for a few months, whatever, but they don't last. There's no longevity in their career. And you have people like, say, Kanye West, who's like, people think he's crazy, whatever, but he's real. That's who he is. And it's like, he doesn't care what people think, how weird he is, crazy, whatever they want to say. He made it to the top because he was different and he was real, and he's just being who he is. And that's like, I feel like that's the key to everything, is just being who you are. So I ripped the band-aid off of myself, and I was like, everything that you think and the perception that you want people to have of you, just be that, so that way it can exist, instead of just always like being in your mind. You know what I mean? Like when you're trying to have people see you a certain way and you're wondering why they don't see you that way, it's because you're too scared. Like just be it, and that's how they're gonna see it. So like, I don't know, like I just don't care. And I guess a lot of times too, like when I meet people, when I talk to people, when they really get to know me, a lot of the times like they like me or we click so easily because I'm able to understand them. And then it's like I'm so judgment free because I myself am like free from other people's judgment, so I don't judge others. I don't know, like I say, like this is bigger than even just an artist image. This is just how I am as a person. It's just like you just free yourself from the chains of what people think of you, and that's what's really going to attract people to you. Like, you know, no one cares what you own, no one cares how much money you make, no one cares who you know, no one, it's like it's about you at the end of the day. And I feel like that's just how I see it. Like, that's my perspective on life. And so it makes me more relatable as an artist because people don't want to talk to someone who's like really cocky or egotistical or acts like they're on this like there's tiers to a human being. It's just you're a good person or you're a bad person.
Was it hard for you to go online and be like, you know what, I'm tired, I'm going to show them how I really am? Because I feel like, especially when you're dealing with online, I feel like a lot of hate can come from it. From the start of your, you know, when you launched your album, you know, there was a lot of support, but there was also a lot of hate. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
And I feel like hate, especially when you're getting into the industry, when you're really entering something that you love, can sometimes, you know, set people back because it gets into their head super quick. How is it for you to deal with hate, especially on social media? Because si ustedes la siguen, you guys know that you've blown up over the past year on TikTok. Mm-hmm. I feel like TikTok, you know, for a lot of people has been such an amazing platform. And I feel like for you, it's helped you so much as an artist, as a person. But, you know, there's also been so much people in the comments, you know, attacking you for any little thing that you've done. How has it been you as a person to deal with all that hate?
It's like, at first I was real sensitive to the hate because I was like a little girl, you know. It's like, and when you have so much love from your peers and your family and whatever, and then you go onto the internet and it's like so many hate comments, you're just like, what? Like, I thought I was good, or I thought whatever. So I used to be real sensitive at first. I used to actually cry when I would read hate comments. That was like when I was like 14, 15. But then I started to grow confidence because it's like, if you don't think that you're good or like you're the best, like if you don't believe in yourself, you're not ever gonna like make it. Like, there's, you know, so you have to believe in yourself first, and other people, you have to have that confidence within yourself. So I started like to just not care. You just can't care because these people don't know how many hard like and long days and nights that you have to, of work that you have to put into to get everything accomplished, and all the ideas, all the money behind everything. Like, they don't see that, and they don't understand that. So it's like one comment or a few words of someone's day that they're gonna forget about it later on in that day shouldn't affect you. You should forget about it as well, because it's not going to affect that person. They're going to forget about it. So don't let it ruin your visions and what you truly believe in. So like, I don't know, like, I just don't care about hate comments anymore. They'll literally come at you for anything. They get mad at me for how I do my lip combo. They get mad at me for like literally how I say stuff. Like, and at this point I'm just like, I just don't even care anymore. And a lot of my hate first came from like people like, oh, you're a fake chola, fake Chicana, whatever. That was a big thing for a very long time. And I remember I would get clowned like on TikTok, like especially if people liked me, like other people would be telling them stuff, because in high school I was like really emo. And I still am, like, on the inside. And I always say I'm a rockera on the inside. But like I had like, you know, the big old boots, and like my hair was dyed. It still is. And like I used to wear, you know, these big old chains and like pants, whatever. So that's how people remember me from high school. But I grew up heavily with the Chicano culture. It doesn't strip me from like who I am, you know, just dressing how I feel. It doesn't strip me from my culture at all. So whenever I started to kind of get more involved with my culture in terms of the style, people got really mad. And like I said, I just got so much hate for it. And I hate it because it is like, they have like what is it called? Like a perception of you, like they from high school. Yeah, and then they have a perception too of like what a Chicana or a chola should be. Because I'm not a chola, first of all. I never said I was. And they confused the two. Like, they confused both of those things. And so that's why people were getting mad, because they're like, oh, you don't bang and you don't do this. And I was like, well, duh. When did I ever say that I do that? I never said that. So that's what was like my biggest thing at first. And everything else that I get hated on, my personality, I really don't care, because I like myself the way that I am. So those comments don't affect me. It's just like I guess like rumors or people trying to start stuff that it doesn't even exist. You know what I mean? But like I said, at first it used to kind of get to me, but now I just don't care.
And I remember I had a convo with you back in February last year during the album release party, because I was getting a lot of hate during that live stream. You were getting a lot of hate.
The comments.
It was just crazy, you guys. For a moment, even I was kind of like, fuck. It was about you, but then they were like turning it about me, about my weight, about this, about that. And then they were
going
judging
crazy.
You. Everybody was going crazy in the comments. And I remember, you know, after finishing the live, I remember having a convo with you like, oh, you know what? People are going to hate regardless. You know, there's times where I feel like people online see someone doing amazing, seeing someone doing great stuff. And sometimes it's jealousy. If we're being 100% honest, like these people wish they can be in the spot that you're in, and they think you're lucky. They think that, you know, you got, you know, people paid this much money to put you where you are. And it's not about luck. It's not about, you know, who paid the most money. It's about, you know, the hard work you've put in, because even prior to you, you know, signing with MC Magic, you've been putting in the work. You know, you've been writing, like you said, your own music, your own songs, you know. And it's crazy because a lot of the time what us people online forget is that any hate we get, any, you know, controversy we go through, or anything that people throw at us, it speaks more about them than it does about us. Mientras que tú sepas quién eres como persona, como artista, that's all that should matter, you know. And I feel like at the end of the day, it's easier said than done, but like, que te valga. You know, you touched something super important right now about, you know, a lot of the stuff that goes on behind the scenes in the industry. How has it been for you, you know, for like your hardships and struggles being a female in the industry you're in?
To be honest, I wouldn't even, well, how can I word this? I wouldn't really say a lot of the struggles, I guess, come from like being a girl, even though that is like a big thing in the music industry, because, you know, like there's over sexualization and like, you know, predatory people, whatever. But that hasn't really been my problem, because I have a really good team that they protect me. It's like they're all like my tios or something like that. It's like, I feel like I have like 5 dads. But I would say like one of the biggest things that's like, I guess that's a struggle, is just being Chicana. Like, because our culture is so strong that sometimes people feel like you can't be anything else. That if you dress this way, you're instantly not Chicana. If you talk this way, you're instantly not Chicana. If you do your makeup this way, and it's like they don't understand that it's in your blood. Like you can't change that no matter what. And I feel like that's like one of the biggest struggles, that people forget that human beings are not one-dimensional beings. Like we are everything, and we're everything around us. Like we're products of our environment. So it's like you cannot just like only one thing or be only one way. And that's like, I feel like been one of my biggest issues. So it's like I don't know, some people think that I just can't do anything else, and that kind of like irks me. And it's really frustrating because they put you in a box before they can even see your potential. They don't even let you try. Like they literally don't even let you try. And so it's like, how can you prove yourself? They don't even let you prove yourself. You know what I mean? And then whenever you do try new things, you're like, oh, well, that's not for you. You need to stick to this, or you need to be like this. Like they think they like know everything. You know what I mean? And so I would definitely say like the biggest struggle with me, like musically, has been that. And also because I always say there has not been a single artist like in all of history, a Chicana artist that has made it mainstream. And I'm talking about like Lady Gaga, Britney Spears type level. Like that has never happened, like ever. And I know a lot of people would use Selena as an example, but she was more of a Tejana than like a Chicana, you know what I mean? And even then she got a lot of her fame after she died. And so that sucks, because she didn't get to live it through, you know what I mean? To see like all the fans and all the love that they have for her and like our culture now. But even then it was just different, because she wasn't really Chicana. She didn't rep that culture, you know what I mean? And people to this day, they still have a stigma that like Chicanos is like cholos and like gangbanging, and it's like ghetto. And so it's kind of hard to like, I don't want to say break out of that image, but it's hard to break out of the negative things that come with having that image. I could complain about that all I want, but I'm gonna just keep working on proving to people that we're not just that, like that we are not just that, because people have talked about this over and over about the being Chicano in the music industry, but like I haven't really seen anybody change it. I just wanna change it so I could just not be a conversation anymore, and like just prove and hopefully open up doors for other Chicano artists that want to do different things so that they don't have to, you know, keep rapping over oldies beats or whatever. Like, they could do more than that. They could be anything that they want to be, and that their culture shouldn't keep them grounded or make them feel like they're stuck with something that's not completely them.
That's very important that you mentioned that, because I feel like a lot of like the Chicano culture, I feel like it's not mainstream, you know, and if, you know, like you mentioned, there's other artists that are of Latin descent and everything that have gotten mainstream, but it's the culture that you're repping, it's the, you know, the people that you're singing to, like, that don't get that same mainstream spot. Why do you think it hasn't become a mainstream genre?
I personally feel like because the Chicano culture is, first of all, it is really small compared to a bunch of other cultures, because sometimes even our own people don't claim us. Like Mexicans, like you have Mexicans, like Mexicans that come from Mexico, you know, they weren't born here, they don't like us, you know, but we are a part of them. So it's like, even if our own people kind of divide us, it's like, how can we expect others to accept us? And so there's already that, okay, there's a lot of division, and we're already like a minority. And two, the culture is just so specific to the culture that when we're rapping about, or when they're rapping about the way that we dress, the way we talk, everything about the culture, other people cannot relate to it because it is so deeply embedded in us. And it's just like so specifically ours that it's very hard for other people to relate to it. And that's why I feel like it hasn't gone mainstream, just because, like I said, it's so there's so much culture involved, you know? Other people just can't relate to it because that's not everybody's culture. And like I said, there's nothing wrong with representing your culture. Matter of fact, I think it's like one of the most important things ever. And that's been one of my biggest things ever since I started making music, is to make sure that I represent my culture, because I don't want to forget about it and I never claim it and whatnot.
Even like listening to you and hearing you, I feel like I'm like seeing so much shit in so many different perspectives, because you see a lot of like, you know, the mainstream artists, like the Karol G's, the, you know, the really big mainstream artists, and you really, if you really te pones a pensar their lyrics are very general lyrics, like everyone parties, everyone drinks, everyone, like their lyrics talks about things that can appeal to such a big audience, as opposed to like your Chicano genre. It's more appealing on a personal level. You guys talk about, you know, what you guys are going through, not necessarily what everyone goes through. And I feel like it's really important, you know, like you said, like you're gonna do more than just have a conversation. You want to work your ass off to be able to, you know, prove the people wrong that, you know, your cultura, your genre can be on that same mainstream level. Not
only that, but like, it's never been cool to be Chicano. First of all, that's one of the biggest things that I feel like too, because it's like every other culture, everyone wants to be that. Everyone wants to be something else. But Chicano culture has always been like, no, we're ghetto. Or nobody, that's not cool. That Chicano rap is whack. Or whenever a Chicano rapper, even I just did it right now, but for the sake of the example, like a rapper that happens to be Chicano, and when he starts rapping, they call it Chicano rap, because of who he is. And not that I want the term Chicano rap to be negative, but I'm just saying, like, look at how they automatically do that. How they won't just be like, oh, he's a rapper. It's like, oh, he's a Chicano rapper. He does Chicano rap. And it's not just like he's a talented rapper. This is like no shade at all or anything, but you see there's like most rappers obviously nowadays, they're black, and a lot of people love the black culture, which is amazing that they were able to do that and have so much influence in the music industry and, you know, in mainstream media and whatnot. But like I said, you have a lot of little kids that they want to be like that and they think it's cool. And like I said, there's nothing wrong with it, but the difference is that their culture is glamorized and ours is looked down upon. And it's always been like that, no matter what anybody says, no matter what anybody what anyone thinks or wants to say. Like, that's the proof. Look at how these kids are nowadays. Like, you could see that they are heavily influenced by, you know, the mainstream hip-hop culture, and that's mostly black artists, and that's really good for them. But the point that I'm trying to prove is that when Chicanos do something similar, like the same thing, it's like all of a sudden it's ghetto, or it's like whack, or it's scandalous, or whatever they want to say. Tell me, like, how many little kids, like, this is just a real example, how many little kids want to be like Tupac, and then how many kids want to be like one of the most known rappers in the Chicano genre is like Lil Rob? You know what I mean? Like, let's just do a comparison and let's be real. It's a huge difference, you know what I mean? And Lil Rob has had a huge impact on the Chicano culture, but that's it. And there's no way to break out of that, to like to go to the mainstream, because like I said, people are they just look down on us. And like I said, no matter what anybody wants to say, and no matter how much the media tries to taint the image of the hip hop culture and whatnot, the influence still stands. The influence still stands no matter what people think, you know? And that's the point that I'm trying to say. Like, yeah, the media is going to try to make them look bad, like, oh, gangsters and blah, 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 blah. But at the end of the day, their influence is ridiculous. Like, it's up there.
My next question, que te tengo, you know, you brought him up, Rob. You know, it's crazy because you've done collabs with MC Magic, you know, Bella the rapper, and you did such an amazing song with him, you know, the I Belong to You, which I feel like has become such an iconic song. I feel like when it came out, like, I love the video. I love everything. And a lot of people don't know your mom's in the video.
Oh, yeah,
you know, your mom is basically
his wife.
His wife. How is it like to, you know, collab on a song with such an iconic person in, you know, the Chicano genre?
I was shocked. Like, I was real shocked that he agreed to the feature, because before, like, actually meeting Rob, Magic had told me, like, he's like, Rob doesn't collab with anybody. Like, he doesn't collab with anybody. So I didn't think he was gonna say yes. And then when he said yes, I was like, what? Like, that's ridiculous, but it's cool at the same time. I was like, that's crazy. And I didn't actually get to work in the studio with Rob because he sent back his verses. But then after the song was like completed, and then we met at the music video shoot and all that stuff, and the album release party, you know, me and Rob have actually grown close. And like, it's so cute because like every time I see him, he calls me like his little homegirl. And that's why I say like my whole team just feels like I have a bunch of tios, you know? And so it's just like, it's crazy like that I grew up listening to these people, and now they're just like my friends, like yeah. like my best friends. And I don't know, it's really really crazy. Like, even to this day, I'm just like it's just funny. And I remember one thing that I remember too, like when Rob told me at the album release party, he was like, just be careful what you wish for, ain't like that, you know how he talks. And I was like, what is he talking about? Because it was before I even had like any, I guess, type of clout or whatever. And I mean, I guess now I kind of understand him a little bit, but I still love what I do. But yeah, like just how we were talking about, like, you know, like with the online stuff and everything, it comes with the price, you know, just like everything does. And
I feel like that's so crazy because even when I filmed with MC Magic, you guys, he performed aquí en mi sala, like literally right here where you're at.
With his talk box.
And it was such a surreal moment for me because I grew up listening to his music. Also, Lil Rob, when I saw him perform, literally aquí de distancia, when you guys performed at your album release party, it was such like a, you know, a little, like a dream come true as a child. You know, you listen to this music, and for you, obviously, it must have felt even greater because like you weren't just seeing your favorite people perform, you were actually working with them.
Oh, yeah.
And I feel like that
surreal.
must have felt great. Yeah.
It's a very surreal feeling. I actually have a funny little story, or cool story. The day that we did my album release party, Little Rob was, you know, scheduled to perform, and I had wanted, my favorite Little Rob song is Linda Mujer. And so I wanted him to perform that. And it turns out that he had, prior to that day, he had never performed that live, like ever. So I guess they were like trying to surprise me, and Magic had asked Rob if he could perform that. He was like, no. And then when Magic had told him like Jay requested it though, then he was like, okay, like I'll do it for Jay. So that was the first time he performed Linda Mujer. But it's crazy because the story behind Linda Mujer is that he wrote that song for his grandma, I believe, yes, his grandma that passed away. And he was trying to write the song about her, but he told me that it was too hard for him, so he ended up turning Linda Mujer into a love song. And the reason why that's super crazy, literally, I was so shocked when I found out, because that's exactly what happened with the song I Belong to You. That song was supposed to be about my tata and his life and everything, but it was so hard to write about it, and I would just like break down too much, so that we just ended up turning it into a love song. And Little Rob happened to be the feature on that, so I just thought like that's like a ridiculous, like it's just like
coincidence,
weird coincidence, like it's real, like kind of scary almost. But so that's when he performed Linda Mujer that day, I started crying because I was like I just felt so connected to him after that, you know.
It was like a whole full circle, you know. And going back to what you mentioned in the beginning of the interview, you know, you used to do little concerts for 20, 30 people. And like you mentioned, those 20, 30 people were majority your family. How does it feel now to be touring, you know, and singing live to thousands and thousands of people? And let me go ahead and say something, you guys, because I know a lot of bitches back there, they'll be like, they're not there for you, they're not there for you. Have you guys seen the videos of people yelling your name? they're there for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
How does that feel?
Honestly, it's really crazy because, like I said, I've never been afraid to perform either. I've never gotten nervous and nothing like that. So that's why when I do these big shows, one time I think our biggest show was like I don't know if it was 20,000 people. It was something grand, like a few like 10 grand. Yeah. I don't remember how big our biggest show was, but it was huge, and I never get nervous. So like I would say I was pretty prepared for tour, but it is like such a huge difference from these like little tiny venues that I used to be doing, because I'm telling you, a majority of the people in there would be my family. And they've always supported me. And so now having people that they literally like cry when they meet me and they scream out my lyrics and all this stuff is like, what the heck? Like, that's so ridiculously crazy, but in a good way, you know? Like, I'll go to the front of the crowd and like the front row of people, like they'll stick out their hands, like so I could like grab their hands and all that. And it's just like, I don't know.
A surreal moment.
It is very surreal. Like, I feel like every time I perform, I come out of my body and I'm just like what the heck? Like, you
get in the zone.
Yeah, it's really crazy, and performing is like a very intimate thing for me. You know, I'm very, very, very passionate about what I do. It's just crazy. It's really just, the best word is surreal.
They really do ride or die for you, you know, so it's so crazy and it's so amazing seeing you grow into this artist that I feel like you always wanted to be.
I would have to say my fan base too. Like, I mean, and I even tell them I don't really like to call them fans because they're like my little friends, like my best friends. They are crazy in the best way possible. It's kind of like, I feel like it's a very cult-like fan base. Haven't been consistently even releasing projects, videos, nothing, and they still like, they go so hard for me, and I just appreciate them for that so much, you know. And I'm always talking to them. I'm always talking to them on Snap, on Twitter, on Instagram, on TikTok, on everything. That I'm always make sure like to be constant in their lives, because I know that some of them they just need that. And two, I don't have any friends, so like they're my friends, you know. Like, I'll go on live and it's like I say it's like a group FaceTime. I just like to, like I said, I just say what is real will prosper, and so I just be that for them, and I'm just very transparent with them. I always just tell them everything. I tell them exactly how it is. And like I said, I couldn't appreciate them anymore. And my fans, like, or my supporters that are real diehard, like, they know me like the back of their hand. And I've had a few like fans that I've met in person that they bring me like hyper specific gifts. They write me cards with so many inside jokes, like, you know. And so it's crazy that many people love me.
All right, you guys. So ya después de tanto chisme, como que ya we gotta, you know, go into something a little bit more divertido. And usually I know you guys are waiting for the Wheel of Pendejadas, pero esta vez, you guys, tenemos a una invitada especial, tenemos una artista. Aquí tenemos, and I literally came up with this right now. I was like, you know what? I want to get Jay singing live. I've heard her singing live before, but quiero que ustedes la escuchen sin música, just with her raw voice. Jay is a multi-talented genre singing artist. Hoy les quiero enseñar un poquito de eso, you guys. So I'm gonna give her three kind of genres, or just kind of three different, como se dice, three different types of singing, whether it's like singing, rapping, and then we'll do punk. Are you ready?
I'm always ready.
Okay, we're gonna do a singing genre.
Okay, so this is my #1 song that everybody loves it, and it's called Princessa. So it goes like this. Yo soy tu princesa, tú eres mi loco, y por eso yo te entrego mi amor. Yo soy tu princesa, tú eres mi loco, y por eso yo te entrego el corazón.
Period. That was good, you guys. Your voice is so powerful. Like, I even got, look, se me pararon los pelitos y no estoy mintiendo. You can see my little hairs like.
Thank
so
you.
The next genre, a little rap song.
Okay, so I'm not really a rapper, but I did rap in one of my songs, Two Chicanas. So let me see. So Jenny69 actually did a little cameo because she's in the verse too. So it goes, Jenny pulls up with the rooftop missing. Haters in my comments, baby, why you tripping? Homie, I'm a vegan, I don't fuck with chickens. You can say it to my face, but I still won't listen. A mí no me importa lo que pienses de mí. Dicen que no quieren que yo gane, pero no se olvidan de mí. See, I've been sleeping, but y'all woke the giant. I know half you whack rappers and your bars be lying. Yeah, I said what I said and I ain't taking it back. Cause we going to the top and we ain't never coming back.
Hey! You guys, les digo un poquito de todo. Like, just that change from like that first song to this one. Ahora les voy a cambiar un poquito más. The next genre, give us a punk.
Okay, this is unreleased. It's called Once Upon a Time. So it goes like, I left my love at the altar. He said, come back to me. I stuck a knife in his heart and then I watched him bleed. Once upon a time, you were a fantasy, but I'ma end this fairy tale. No more you and me.
Period. You guys,
it sounds better with all the guitars.
No, but I feel like it sounds good to hear. And I feel like, you know what's crazy? Aunque no haya music, every single song que cantaste ahorita, you can tell the genre it is. Like, just by your voice, just by, you know, the different... Because for every little, you know, piece que nos diste, era como si era una persona diferente. And I feel like that's what people love about you, that you're able to give them something different with every song. You know, and you don't see that a lot because I feel like a lot of artists se quedan con el mismo genre and they ride with it until like se gastan, and it's crazy that you're able to do more than just one. All right, you guys, so ya que la escucharon un poquito cantar, I'm sure you guys got a lot of chills, también como yo. But we are approaching the end of today's episode. Y antes de que nos vayamos, you guys, I want to turn it over to Jay para que ella nos diga what is next for Roxxx.
I just want to let you guys know that I'm actually on tour right now. This weekend, I'm going to be in Texas twice, and I'm also going to be in San Diego. And I have a bunch of other upcoming shows. For this tour, you can buy the tickets at mcmagicconcerts.com. You'll find all the locations there. It'll have all the information. I'm also working on my rockera EP. So for all my rockeras out there, it's going to be a little bit different from the stuff that I have out right now. I'm also working on a brand new merch drop because I haven't dropped merch in a while. So I'm working on a brand new merch drop, new designs and all that stuff. That's at jroxx.com. My Instagram is antisocial extrovert. My TikTok is Roxxx. It is JAYROXXX. 3 X's, don't forget. And then that's the same as all my other social medias. My Twitter is Roxxx.
And continue fucking streaming the Princessa album.
Yeah, stream the Princessa album and you'll get prettier, trust me.
So with that being said, you guys, make sure you guys head over and follow Roxxx on all her social medias, which I'll leave below, and that will also appear right here on the screen para que ustedes vayan y corran a seguirla. Y también no se les olvide to follow me on all of my social media so you guys won't miss any future episodes. And with that being said, you guys, I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode as much as I enjoyed it. Thank you so much for being here with us today and opening up and sharing so much about who you are as a person. And we'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye, guys.